Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to Shanth Enjeti Art. I am Shanth Enjeti, coming to you live this wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and want to express my gratitude to all of those who have fallen so that I can have the freedoms I have, the liberties I have. There's nothing more I can say that's much better than thank you, I'm afraid. But we're coming to you live from the heart of Lovecraft Country, in the birthplace of religious liberty, a liberty they have defended and given the last full measure for. And today we're going to be talking about art. We're going to be talking about all this stuff on this fine Saturday, and I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see who we've got in the chat. Brent Mackey says, "Hi, Shanth. How are you?" I'm doing well. How are you doing, Brent? It's good to see you. Timmy Mello, channel member, Rockstar. It is great to see you, brother. How are you doing? Hail and happy Memorial Weekend, guys. Happy Memorial Weekend to you as well. And Mark's Music Obsession first in the chat. It's good to see you, brother. I hope you're having a wonderful time. So here is what I'm going to be doing today. And I see Bad Crow Comics sliding into chat. It's great to see you, brother. I'm just doing some relaxing lettering. I've been boxing up books this morning and yesterday. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to work on a sketch and just show you guys a little bit of what it looks like when I do hand lettering in gouache, if that sounds all right with you guys. And also, I had a bit of a crazy, in a good way, evening last night where I've told this story on stream before of a very particular day that I had when I was about 5 years old, that had a huge impact on me for so many different reasons and so many aspects of things I'm passionate about, and just how I am as a person, I think kind of were demonstrated on that particular day in a very weird way. I got a sort of a piece of the puzzle for that day that through Google and through finally typing in the right keywords, so it was pretty amazing. Michael, how are you doing? Hail, and I hope you are having a great Saturday, everybody. I know it's just the start or end of the week, depending. The start of the weekend and the end of the week, depending on how you choose to view it. But yes, I had an adventure when I was a young lad that I'm going to talk a little bit about today, because it kind of ties into the conversations I was having with Graham Nolan about Frankenstein over on his channel, which he just launched. Joe Frankenstein Volume 3. The link for that is in the description. If you have not backed it yet, do check it out. And hello, Devil Flyer Momentum. I hope you are doing well, my friend. It's great to see you. So when I like to do, when I'm sort of trying to unwind, it's very strange when art is the thing that you do to relax from your job, which is art, and you're doing that all day. And then, packing boxes, interestingly enough, is I don't mind it at all, but it's very zen. It's very relaxing to do in a strange sort of way, but I have to recharge every now and again. So I like to do hand lettering in gouache for just sketch idea projects I have. This is kind of how I sketch things out. And so this story right here is something I came up with, I don't know how many years ago, while I was at my last college teaching position. And I was working at a school and playing around with sort of anagrams of their name, and thinking, how could I come up with something to help promote the college and help to promote what they do there? Always trying to help out where I can. And so if nothing else came out of that experience, I met a lot of great students. I was able to help a lot of people. Very appreciative of that. And But definitely this is one of the weirder things, which is me kind of coming up with this bizarre Lovecraft idea. So we'll see where it goes. Mr. Monkey Boy 1969, it's great to see you, brother. But I am a huge fan of the old movie posters, and I'm a huge fan of hand lettering, and I'm, sign painters and all that kind of stuff has always been something that's fascinated me. And so even when I was in college, I used to really practice hand lettering, did that on Spring Ball as well. And so I wanted to show you guys a little bit about how I approach that kind of stuff. And it's not the most incredibly studied form of lettering, but I just find it really, really soothing, really relaxing. And I want to make sure, let me see if I can move this camera to a position that's a little bit better here. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's see here. Zoom. No, not on myself. But they're always too low. Is it quiet again? Is it too low? All right, Enrique, let me take a look at it, my friend. Let me take a look. Uh, Enrique is upset right now about the volume. I thought I had my system settings up pretty high, so let's see. Folks, what do you see? Let me know in the chat if we're having sound troubles. Could be location. Location. Sound. It's up pretty high. Let's try a little bit higher. Let me know if I'm blowing anybody's eardrums out at this point. How's that? Is that a little bit better? Enrique, what do you say? Is that better? Let me know in the chat. I thought my hearing was finally going before its time. Says Timmy Mello. Guys, let me know in the chat if this is okay. Sounds good here, 100%. Okay, says Michael. Yeah, just let me know, guys. We'll figure it out. And so, yeah, so I was sitting there and I was working on this stuff and I was trying to figure out, turn up your volume, Enrique. Simply Green is in the house. It's good to see you, channel member Simply Green. How are you doing, brother? Every time I see that fish statue, is it Plesiath flashbacks? Yes. Wow. Yeah. It's a creepy statue, and it's influenced by the little fish, lap timers from Ben-Hur. I was looking at that for reference to try to come up with a fish design. But let me see if I can go back to zooming in on this here. Now we got the volume hopefully settled. Oh, that's really weird, Enrique. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, if anybody else is also having trouble with the volume, hopefully it's not, worldwide, but we'll see how it goes. But let me see here. So yeah, let me zoom in on this thing. Zoom. Come on. Oh, I gotta click on it here. Hang on a second here, guys. There we go. That's a little bit better. That's a little clearer. So hopefully you guys can see this. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing some lettering today, and I wanted to talk to you guys again about this very bizarre, childhood memory, sort of formative memory when it comes to monsters, when it comes to... Whoops, hang on a second here. I hope that wasn't too loud, guys. Let's see if I can move... Let's see if we can move that more in the line of sight. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough, Enrique. So yeah, so one of the things that was interesting about that trip is when I was about 5 years old, so I'd say sometime around 1981, I went to... How do I want to approach this? Yeah. Interesting. All right, we got an interesting choice to make here. But sometime around 1981, I was out on the West Coast, and it was probably for some visiting family or some medical thing. I'm not exactly sure. Whoa! Did you guys hear that? Is everybody okay? You okay? Being a dad is crazy. Just crazy. Yeah. Anybody hear the loud crash? My goodness. So anyway, yeah. I almost went down from the loud bang. Yeah, hopefully I don't have an injured child upstairs. You never know, but everybody seems to be okay. Had your typical dad heart attack. Enrique, this stream has just been one non-stop victimization of you, and I apologize for that. Yeah, that was louder than I thought. Hopefully the kids aren't shooting off any fireworks. Yeah, it was more like I thought somebody fell to the ground. Hello, Nordic Nerd. It's great to see you. So yeah, I'm gonna try this one more time, but I'm starting to feel like this is a very this is a very strange day. So we were on the West Coast for some reason, and we were visiting the theme parks and that kind of stuff. And so we were, I think there was some kind of conference or something that my dad was attending. Not totally positive. But we were out there, we were visiting, and we had the opportunity to go to Universal Studios Hollywood. Now, I've never been there before. I didn't even know where that was. I mean, I'm 5 years old at the time. And And on that trip, I got to go to the Universal Makeup Show, which was my first exposure to the Universal monsters in a real, actually probably my first exposure to them. On stage, seeing Frankenstein, they had a guy being stretched on the rack, and then one of the big things that happened is they also, because the show was popular at the time, they also had a guy come out in the Lou Ferrigno Hulk makeup and come running out onto the stage and up the aisle, and I was so excited, and I was just blown away by the spectacle of it. I loved Halloween, this haunted sort of environment, left a huge impact on me, and then in addition to that, seeing the Hulk, which left a huge impact on me, the Universal monsters, but also the big thing about that trip was, and they still have it to this day, like this, they had the Jaws part of the Backlot Studio Tour, and at the time, the Battlestar Galactica television show was on, and or they still had that setup where you would get to see, the Cylons fighting, at Starbuck and Apollo and all of that kind of stuff. And it was an amazing, amazing trip. And it's weird because so much of that sort of sense of wonder and my, love of all of these kinds of things was present in that trip. But there was this particular experience I had that I've often wondered about. And the particular experience was, I was at the Animal Actors Show, which is something I think they still do at the parks. And they were showing how the, I guess it was the Buck Rogers, or maybe it was the, actually I think it was the Battlestar Galactica dog bear character. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was a chimp in a suit, and they'd show that there was a chimpanzee in there, and they'd show all these different animal actors and things like that. And there was this little boy, and I'm 5 years old, so he was a bit older than me, who was sitting in the row in front of me at this particular event. Good to see you, Real Sean Crummell. I hope you are doing well, my friend. Happy Saturday. And he was sitting in front of me, and he was wearing a ball cap. And I think I noticed, of course, at that age, even at the age of 5, that he was missing some hair, and he was actually largely bald, and he had just a couple of strands of hair on his head. But when you're a kid, I mean, I think with most kids, you see another kid and they're just a kid. I don't know if it's always in our nature to be judgmental when we see different kinds of people. But what I remember profoundly is this kid turned around and he looked back at me, and because he had been on the same tour with us, and he said, "Did y'all see Jaws? He was scary." And then we started having this conversation. And I don't think I'd ever heard a Southern accent before, but we started, or outside of television, and we started talking and carrying on about Jaws and things, so much so that he was turned around, and I think he was missing a lot of the show. But I started to get a little bit concerned because everybody was looking at us and sort of thought it was, for some reason, you know how when you're a kid and you can just tell maybe you're doing something embarrassing or something you're not supposed to. Everybody was kind of looking, and then I was wondering if I was distracting them, if his parents were getting mad. I was trying to figure out what was going on. But we were just having this conversation. Two kids talking about Jaws and Universal, and he was really happy. And then I remember looking over at his mom, and she was kind of looking at us, and she was kind of, yeah, that's right. That's how it was, man. That's how it was. But she was kind of beaming, like she was really happy, like both of his parents were smiling, that we were just kind of being kids and talking about monsters, and I'm sure we were just talking each other's ears off, but everybody was kind of looking at us like it was some kind of spectacle going on. And I remember afterwards, I was talking with my parents, and they said, something to the effect of, well, do you know what that boy, or maybe I asked a question like, why didn't he have hair? And they said to me, they went, because, you're a kid, you're just curious, and I was probably just as curious about a Southern accent. And my folks told me, well, he's got this very rare condition, and this condition is called progeria. And I don't know if you guys know about what that condition is, but it's a condition that makes your body age incredibly quickly, and you don't really have a particularly long lifespan, unfortunately, as a result of that particular condition. So I think at that time he was 9 and I was 5, from what I've been able to gather just in the last 24 hours. But I never forgot that interaction with that kid, mainly because I felt like we were being stared at. And I think we were being stared at because people thought it was adorable, I guess, these two kids. Like, they could see it differently than we could see it. They could see me not noticing any, or not acting weird towards the kid, I guess. And it's so strange. But also just the just two kids playing a really nice moment in a day, if that makes sense. And so for some reason, it's always stuck with me because I've always been that kind of person all the way through my life, to where if I saw somebody, whether I was at a convention when we were doing spring ball and I saw a kid in a wheelchair or something, I was like, hey, my wife and I'd be like, do you want to come back here behind the booth and maybe we, draw this or we draw that. It's cool, and I'll show you how we do this. And my wife and I have always been, just been, like that. To talk to another kid about Jaws, which I was obsessed with sharks at that point, I was just incredibly excited. And so, but I figured that progeria is not a, incredibly common, disease, or I don't know what you would call it, genetic anomaly. So that, hey, what's up, Paulus Arts? It's good to see you. It's very rare. It's incredibly rare. And I thought, I wonder who this kid was. I wanted to know what his name was. And every time I searched for it, I had almost nothing to go on. I knew he had a Southern accent. I knew that it was sometime in the late 70s or early 80s when I saw him. But I never really knew who he was. And so I guess last night, I've told this story on stream before, but last night I was Googling, just random stuff, and I thought, I'm going to try to see if I can type in some keywords to figure out, who this kid was. And obviously I knew he wouldn't still be alive at this point, but I just sort of felt like that was one of those special moments in your life you have with a fellow, creature, monster kid. And I learned his name, and I found out when I typed in 1981 universal progeria that there were 3 kids who were taken on a trip as a part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. 3 kids with progeria who were taken that year, and I saw an interview with one, and I knew that wasn't him because of the accent. And I saw a couple of other interviews, and I finally found an interview with this kid whose name is Mickey Hayes. His name was Mickey Hayes. And Mickey Hayes, I guess, acted in a science fiction film because one of his dreams was to be an actor. I think the Make-A-Wish Foundation found a way for him to be in a movie, which is great. But Mickey Hayes was this kid's name. And for 43 years, it's one of those experiences that you have. I was like, was that even real? I remembered everything he said and the things that we were talking about. But I got to see a video interview with him from 1981, so around that same time, and all of it just came back. I heard his voice and went, "That's him, Mickey Hayes." So yeah, so that was a crazy thing. That was a crazy mystery solved. So 43 years ago that happened. Yeah, 1 in 20 million. Wow, for progeria, that's unbelievable. There's like 300 kids living with it at any time, give or take. Isn't that incredible? And but it was just, to me, that was just a part of the story, because I've always noticed that there are certain kids in this world who are they meet each other, and you just don't, there's nothing going on. You don't see anything else going on. You don't see all the silly things that I think sometimes kids do see on their own, but most of those things have to be taught. And for me, I just, it's just one of those things, you meet different people, and I thought, well, gosh, I'd love to know who he was. I'd love to know his name. I'd love to know who this, this kid I met on that really special day was, and who himself was an incredibly unique individual. So, Yeah, that's something I just learned last night, and of course, when I emailed my friends about it, they were all like, "Oh my god, I know that story." Yeah, I'm telling you, Timmy, it was. I didn't have a lot to go on, but you know how. Well, you guys know me and my memory, but it's. I don't know if it's a photographic memory, which is apparently a myth, but I always like to jokingly call it a photocopying memory. It's pretty close. But it was cool to be able to track him down because I still remember his mom sitting there, and it's a very similar thing. If you've got a kid with special needs, or you've got a kid who's in a situation as serious as that where you don't have a lot of time. He died when he was 20 years old on his 20th birthday, which was another thing I learned about him when I was doing the research on it. But if you're a parent in that situation, it's a pretty powerful thing when you see your kid just getting to be a kid with another kid, and it's something that I think is great about comics, and it's why I love comics. It's great about monsters and movies and all of that stuff. Is you just come together, and all of the silly little differences that people get caught up in, they sort of melt away, and you just have this interaction with people. So yeah, and on his birthday too. Yeah, I know. It's a tough thing for parents, man. I tell you what, I've one of my daughter's classmates is a cancer survivor, and I just remember some of those posts from his mom about just the things some kids have to deal with medically when they're young. I know we've got people in the chat. I know that Jimmy Reyes went through that as well. It's amazing. I have a McGrath memory, Jim Cox, for the win. If I haven't done it over and over and over again, I don't remember. You know what's so funny is I'm really a creature of habit too with regards to that. So yeah, I definitely need to do things like when it comes to learning a new skill. But yeah, my memory is it's strange how it just picks up on and sometimes locks into certain things. And Jim Cox, it's great to see you, brother. I hope you are doing very well, my friend. So yeah, it was nice because I guess going on Graham's stream, and again the link to Joe Frankenstein is in the description. We were talking about monster movies, and we were, of course, talking about the Universal monsters. And that's probably why I searched it. I just thought of that trip. I even had ordered the... because I remembered what it looked like. I ordered the Universal Studios Backlot Tour program booklet for when I was there. And it was just incredible. Oh my gosh, Jim Cox! Good Lord! Jim Cox gifted 10 Shanth Enjeti art memberships. I don't even know if we have more than 10 people in here. My goodness, Jim Cox, you maniac. Chrome was gifted a member. How's Your Father was gifted a membership. Sleeping Psychopathy was gifted a membership. LEAI 4K GPT. You're killing me, man. Was gifted a membership. Awesome One was just gifted a membership. Emo Trash was gifted a membership. Oh my gosh. Jim Cox, you maniac. Michael Dietcher was gifted a membership, and so was Way Lamb was gifted a membership. It's good to see you. Russifus was gifted a membership by Jim Cox. Holy cow. Jim Cox making it rain. Tammy D. Dang, Jim! Member Tammy D. It is great to see you. How's Your Father? Saying thank you to Jim Cox. Paulus Arts is saying hello. What are you working on? Look at all you amazing people. Thank you so much. Wow, Jim. Nice. Indeed. Enrique Cabrera. Jim Cox. What a beautiful soul. Indeed. Thank you, Jim. How's Your Father? Cheers, everybody. Jim, I appreciate the heck out of that. It's because I'm here, says Tammy D. And you're absolutely right. It is great to see. Jim, I got to get some cheerleaders coming your way. 10 memberships. My God, Jim, that's amazing. Moss Blackburn saying, lurking, here you go. Here's some cheerleaders for you. Charge! And I think one of these cheerleaders has their eye on you, Jim. Charge! Oh, God bless you, brother. Man, that is wild, Jim. But yeah, I mean, it's Jim, as if on cue. If there's one thing that I love about what we're able to do in this day and age with communication and sharing of artwork and sharing of imagination and the stuff that connects us, whether it's the love of comics, the love of monsters, the love of movies, whatever that stuff is, the thing that I always come back around to is it gets people talking. It gets people this starting place. So it's crazy, you know, when I was talking with the fellas, you know, Aaron Lopresti and Graham Nolan and everybody, and Billy Tucci and Jimmy Reyes and everybody who was on the stream. One of the things that was what was so amazing about it was that, and Dan Lawless as well, is that you start talking about monsters and comics and all of the stuff that you're passionate about, and all of a sudden you kind of almost, you forget everything else. You just get lost in this place, and that's what I love about this stuff. You know, Enrique, I'm doing my best, man. I'm doing my best, but you never know. Let me just double check and make sure I'm on the right sound, because that would be weird if I wasn't. Let me just see here. Let me just see. Well, as soon as I do check on that, watch it blow up here. I don't know here. Okay, it looks like it's working, but we'll see. I don't know what to tell you. But it was it's a thing that really has struck me a lot of times, and I love thinking about monster makeups. I love thinking about those traditional creatures, the universal monsters, all of that stuff. And it's weird. I love computer generated effects when they're done really well too. But when I go to paint, it's those memories of those tactile creature designs that are always the thing that drive me when I'm working on Nosfero. And someone had asked what I'm working on here. I'm just doing some hand lettering to relax. This is, a little story I've been noodling around on, and this is how I noodle. I don't do a lot of sketches in terms of, I don't keep a sketchbook. I tend to sketch ideas for paintings, and then I tend to paint them. But this is kind of what my process looks like when I'm relaxing and I'm just thinking. It may look crazy, but I have a lot of sketches in my sketchbook or things for ideas that are just, have hand-painted gouache lettering in them, because that's just sort of how I go about things. I don't know. I like to just hone my skills and make something that I can use for something later, whether it's a short story, whether it's something I include as something that's a bonus material in a book in the future. Who knows? It could end up in a sketchbook. You never can tell, or an art book, I should say. Everything I do, it's just, this is how I approach it. I just kind of go at it full tilt, and I love showing people. Yeah, I love lettering so much. I also love lamp, for those of you guys who are curious. But, yeah, lettering is something that I truly enjoy, and I enjoy working on. Why is that set the way it is? Oh, there we go. Okay, that does help a little bit. And so that's what I've been doing. And this idea is an idea for a project idea called Monster Rat Kin of Cthulhu. And so my plan for this was, let me go back to Razor Kaya 1 and make sure and zoom back in. But my plan for this is to just kind of, see where it goes, see where it takes me. It was inspired by my love of H.P. Lovecraft, of course. And it was also inspired by, just the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and that story, which is why it's called the Monster Rat Kin of Cthulhu. I mean, it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Fraught title for a book. It's, how many more words can you put in? But that was kind of the joy of it, to make it a little bit, knowingly or self-aware in terms of its ludicrous nature. So yeah, that was the plan for this, and this all comes out of these monster conversations. We have Mike Likes Tacos. How are you doing, brother? What's Cthulhu with you? I don't know. It seems to be everything, Yeah, love putting your streams up on a big TV and getting the whole house obsessed with quality art. Well, thank you so much, Moss. I appreciate it. Yes, indeed. Mike, you killed me. Monster Mash on Saturday night? Yeah, well, you got to sometimes. And Mike, you killed me in the stream when you said, oh gosh, what was it? Oh, tech support is here. I was dying. I didn't know if Graham was going to read it, but I thought it was hilarious, dude. I was cracking up, man. So that. I was dying, I was like, this man has my sense of humor, Got him! That's right. You know it, man, 100%. Oh, man, arthritis is always fun. So, yeah, I started playing around with lettering on this idea because I wanted to create something that, I'm always having to think of new things. We do all of our own stuff. We do our we do our lettering, we do our promotion, we do our YouTube, we do all this stuff, and it's all of it's interconnected, and you have to maintain all of it as much as possible. And the thing for me is that as I'm doing this stuff, and as I'm working on, I wish I could put that on screen, but if you're on YouTube, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a crazy thing because we work on this stuff, we're doing all these things, so we have to kind of continue to grow, continue to focus on our work, and figure out how we can continue to generate stuff. And so when I don't know what I want to do for a stream, if I'm thinking, okay, I got a stream, I don't want to work on the interior head sketches because I've been doing those all day and my hand's starting to shake. I don't want to really work on Nosfero right now because I can't, Nosfero 2, because I can't really work on that. I've got a busy day. For one of my daughter's teachers, I'm painting a set backdrop for a production they're doing. And so I said, well, I got to stream with these guys. I want to see all my folks on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put together, take out this page, the sketchbook page, and work on it. And I was doing this the other day with the Shin Glorious Rex thing I was working on. Yeah, Paulus Arts knows. Paulus Arts, Mike, Paulus Arts will see your tacos and raise you a taco, I think, is what that's saying. So yeah, hopefully this will help with the arthritis. Chance would be a fine thing. But thank you all for being here. So yeah, so one of my favorite monsters, which I don't know if I've ever talked about on stream, is a monster that many of you guys know. Yeah, Tacos for Kaijus. Mike, seriously, that'd be a great name. Tacos for Kaijus. One of my favorite monsters that I haven't talked about on stream that I was obsessed with, and one of the first drawings I really remember doing, was Jaws. I loved great white sharks. I thought that sharks were the coolest thing in the world. Maybe a lot of boys do. It could have been the influence of Jabberjaw at some point, but I can't speak to that for sure. So again, two boys hanging out under the age of 10 find themselves sitting next to each other at a theme park, start talking Jaws, and all walls and all barriers fall down. And that's what happened that day, and maybe I thought of that kid and that experience when I was 5 because, I was hanging out with another monster kid the other evening. Several monster kids, whether it's I don't know if everyone would define themselves that way, but I know, Aaron Lopresti would, and I know that Graham Nolan would. We love this stuff, and it's like the monster kids have a way of finding each other when we're out in the world. It's pretty cool. Just like comic book folk do. You find the stuff you're passionate about, you go out into the world, and you make it happen. So yeah, very cool, man. So yeah, I was happy to learn that kid's name. I mean, it was a very memorable day for me in terms of things I saw, and he was a part of it, and he was the only person, I think, how do I put this? I was there with my family, and the age difference between my sister, who was a little bit older, is pretty extreme by comparison to when you're 5 years old. It's almost double your age, and just he was the friend on that trip. Does that make sense? He was the friend on that trip. Yeah, all kids are monster kids, especially toddlers. You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. Ray Haylock, how are you doing? Tug's web guy. It's good to see you, brother. Yeah, I saw Tug in the chat the other day. It was great to see Tug, yeah. Meg, she's brutal. 100, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I love that movie is nuts. I love sharks, though. What can I say? 26 watching out and 16 likes. Shanth better step it up. I better step it up. What the heck am I doing? And to the folks over on X, it's thank you for watching as well. Yeah, we're hanging around 70 total here, which is wild. But yeah, I tell you, YouTube, you got to step up your game, guys. But yeah, hit that like button. Let YouTube know what's up. I mean, their number one thing is, are you guys subscribed and hitting the bell for notifications? That's their everything. But man, I tell you what, it was a very cool experience, and I think that if there's one thing that is really exciting about Comicsgate, it's the fact that there's so many people doing monster books. Whether it's John Malin with Graveyard Shift, it's Monster Island and Joe Frankenstein in Graham Nolan's case. Not to mention, everything Graham does. I'm like, if I start listing out, Everybody list every monster book that Graham is doing right now in the chat, because I know there's a bunch. Let me see here. Aliens and Monsters in the 1950s. Yeah, buildings are buildings are sturdy taco shells, and you even get some screaming human inside and tacos for kaiju. Add electro power lines for the extra spiciness at Mike Likes Tacos. Mike, you're getting some advice here, man. You're getting some fantastic business advice here. Just saying. Yeah, monsters are coming back in a big way, I think. In a very big way. But, that's the thing for me about the, Monster Rat, Kin of Cthulhu. I was thinking to myself, like, just play. Just comics can be anything. They can be fun. You can go in all these different directions with them. So when I sketch, sometimes the ideas that are not the ones that are going to be the next, oh, that's the next campaign. Oh, that's the next whatever you want to call it. Sometimes that's the stuff that I want to work on because want to relax on. What's up, Billy, over on X? Ahoy! It's good to see you, Billy. How are you doing, my friend? Man, long time no see. Outside of I've seen you in chats. We've both been in Mike's chat and other places together. But it's great to see you, brother. How's the art? I hope it's going well. But man, yeah, wild stuff. Wild stuff to see. But yeah, Universal during that time, and they still have the ride there in California, or the tram experience. So I remember seeing the Psycho House on that trip. Think of how many things I saw on that trip that were just iconic in my life. Seeing the Psycho House in person, at that time was like unbelievable. Just everything there was great. Yeah, the number 3 Scream Supreme for the big spender. Amen, man. Amen. So, if I could do anything when it comes to my comics or my work when I'm, creating it, in many ways it's taking the page, it's taking the paper and decorating it like Halloween, like I'm decorating for Halloween. That's what I think about when I'm doing a painting, is that I want it to be something that's fun and exciting and bring back all of that fun experience. And it's a ton of work, to do this stuff in the independent space. We don't ever stop working. But you guys being here and being supportive, and folks like Jim Cox, man. Jim, thank you so much, brother. I don't ever know what to make of any of that stuff. All I can say is thank you so much. And I hope everybody is having a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. It's great to be here with you guys on a Saturday. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but I wanted to make sure I got a stream in this weekend because I've got to do... got to help one of my daughter's teachers out with some, the parent volunteer stuff, backdrop work for production at the school. So that's the stuff that's always going on, right? Wife, kids, and family, and all that great stuff. Hopefully nobody falls down and gets hurt. As you guys were listening to me before, and there's a loud bang upstairs, you can see the dad reaction. Yeah, everything goes, all your priorities fall to the side when you think one of your kids fell down and got hurt. That's how it goes. Let's see here. All right, cool. So we're staying more or less on top of things here. Let me see here. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. So yeah, so this is the stuff that I'm working on. And let's see here. So guys, if you have not backed yet, or actually if you have not signed up yet, allow me to show you something that you should sign up for. So the email list for the Second Chance campaign for Nosfero the Crypt Walker is live at the moment. And if you have not signed up yet for it, my goodness, go ahead and sign up for it. So let me play that trailer for you really quickly so you guys can see it. And that's the only way to see it because it's pretty brief. I'm not trying to put blame on you, but look at what you guys did. For those of you who've backed that book and backed the first printing, as I box these packages up for you and hand sign all of them and all of that great stuff, which I love doing, by the way, that book would not exist without you guys. And it puts a huge smile on my face when I see those pages flipping through. It is just incredible, man. It's incredible. Home from the raccoon races. There you go. Yeah, lots of races going on. But yes, thank you, Paulus Arts. I appreciate it. And there is the link to do the email sign up for that, guys. Yeah, that is a wild thing. That is something that you guys have made happen. And it's the weirdest thing to me anyway, that what we do in this space where you guys are just funding these dreams, you're funding the imagination, and and I don't want to overstate the dream aspect of it, because it's so much grueling work too, and I never want anybody to be yes, you got a membership. That is Jim Cox who gifted you that membership. Yep, I signed up with 2 emails as well. It actually took both. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear it. The first was like a 5 seconds of the announcement. Yeah, they're 5 seconds after the announcement. That's right, man. So yeah, I mean, it's this is unbelievably grueling work, and it's in the best sense, right? If you love doing something, you guys know, all work is going to take a tremendous amount of energy. I do love writing letters with gouache, by the way, but all work is going to take a tremendous amount of energy. But it's worth it, and it's possible for us to do this stuff. And we can show you guys and share with you online a certain amount of the work, but we could never show you everything that goes into it. But I would say that in this space, the closest you will ever get to seeing what goes into it is going to be experienced by you. You're going to see a lot. Because, you guys get to see the fact that we have to make videos promoting this stuff. Although I've never done a single video, don't know if I could even imagine doing such a thing, on how I make videos. Whether it's the Comicsgate Kings intro or intros for the individual creators, my own trailers, my own YouTube videos, the opening for the Pizza Live horror movie watch party shows, all of that stuff. It takes hours and hours and hours, and then there's the streaming time. But man, it's what you got to do in this space, and that's what's so great about meeting people who are willing to put in that level of work that we do, and that really is what it comes down to. And we got a hello from Mr. Monkey Boy 1969 to Emo, sending good vibes, which I always love to see in the chat. Thank you guys for sending out good vibes. Good vibes are important, folks. I mean, it is crazy stuff, guys. Really crazy stuff. And I get to look at that book and think about, all right, now on this next campaign, we got to make the work that we've done work for us. That's something that something that's really important to always do is when you create books and you write things, is to make sure that you can keep getting them out there, and that you can keep building off of them, because they start to build up equity that you have to then put directly into your next projects and keeping your family going. And that's what you guys get to do here. It's a very, one-to-one helping of creators. And every super chat, every membership, again, Jim Cox, thank you for donating 10 memberships, my God. All of it helps. There's nothing you guys do that does not help and make it easier for us. It's all hard. And I think, speaking of, we got a tough guy in here. We got Diesel in the house, channel member Diesel. Hail, Lord Enjeti, the Valhalla Master Chief. I say the same to you, and I bow to you, my friend Diesel. Lord Diesel, it is great to see you, my friend. Let me see here. Oh, I'm glad you got one, Emo. Jim Cox donated them. Yes, absolutely. Okay, gonna go watch Furiosa. See you. Well, let me know if it's good. Mike likes tacos. Let me know, my friend. I've seen I love George Miller. He's an amazing director. And have a wonderful time at the movies. Get yourself some popcorn and some candy for me, brother. Let's see here. I have to get a second so I can read it. I have got my, yes, conservative gloves yet. Yeah, I'm putting on these little white gloves. Oh, cool. You watched Furiosa last night, says Diesel. Diesel, you of all people have to have watched Furiosa. I mean, your name is Diesel. And it was pretty good. Excellent. Pretty good will do in a pinch. Mike likes tacos, knows what I'm talking about with the popcorn. Yep. It's, the last movie I saw in the theater was Dune. And Dune 2, sorry, the sequel, or Part 2, or whatever the heck it was. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a fun spectacle on the screen, and I'll go and see George Miller. The only problem I have is that my wife does get motion sick. And I have a feeling that seeing a Mad Max movie on the big screen, she was laughing. My son was playing a car video game upstairs, and she goes, just listening to that, I feel a little car sick. So maybe that movie might not be good for her, but we'll see. Yeah, only just saw the notification for everything a few minutes ago. There you go. Exactly, says Diesel. Amen, amen. Is it available to rent, Diesel? I don't know if it's available to rent. That's a good question. Dune, Electric Boogaloo. You gotta love it. The first time I ever heard that used in that way was from the late, and I hate saying that, but the late Jason Pearson, who passed away I think it was this past year, or 2023. And Jason, when they did the Superman red and blue costumes, he goes, what the hell is this, Superman Electric Boogaloo? And I just died laughing the first time I heard that, man. Yeah, so much love to Jason Pearson. He's crazy, man. Great dude. God bless him. Amazing artist and great sense of humor. I can't remember the last movie I saw in a theater. Yeah, it's available to pirates, says Diesel. Arr! Arr! Yeah, Jason Pearson had the kind of talent that just... he could do stuff with layouts and color theory that was just mind-boggling to me. And he could switch between his style. He could go very cartoony, or he could do more representational stuff. He drew outstanding cars, as did his mentor, Brian Stelfreeze, and my mentor as well, for that matter. But those guys were something special. And when it came to drawing things like that, cars and buildings and airplanes in perspective, those guys are amazing. Just amazing. So yeah, Jason was one of those amazing talents that comes along in comics. Hugely influenced by Michael Golden, who you guys might know from really everything, but Micronauts and comic book Nom, and then so many jobs that he did for Marvel. I think for the big two. I think for both of the big two companies. Great artist. And he did covers for Jason on body bags, and I know Jason was incredibly thrilled by those. And I think actually the Michael Golden Artist Edition, which came out recently, I think is dedicated to Jason Pearson. Which, come on, man. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing stuff. There's a guy named Vumu that may have a copy. I know. You're killing me, dude. You're killing me. But yeah, speaking of, Pearson's work, and whether in particular I think of Savage Dragon, Blood and Guts, which was a book that a lot of people picked up. That book had such an action movie John Woo feel to it. It was very influenced by Hard Boiled and even a little bit of Hard Target, directed by John Woo. So it had this Hong Kong action sensibility to it. He knew how to draw action, that's for sure. And that ain't easy, man. That ain't easy. Yeah, painting lettering, guys. It's very soothing. It's also kind of funny because when I was a kid, my hand control was just appalling. So I would get kept in for recess to do work on my letters, and that just goes to show you that if you work really hard, you can achieve some level of competency on these things, even if you have an initial struggle with it. I'm gonna put that a little bit, lower right there. Sometimes I like to just drop down the horizontals a little bit there on the fonts because it's nice. There's a really great font that does that called Nutraface, which is used a lot these days, but I just think it gives it a nice kind of little older, not deco feel per se, but a little bit of a kind of, turn of the century, 1920s kind of vibe to it, which I dig when I'm, creating type. And what I want to do, just so you guys know why I'm actually hand painting this type, if this makes sense, is that what I want to do, it might be absolutely worth checking out, man. I'm trying to get this feel of the old movie posters. So there was an exhibition of Kirk Hammett's, excuse me, what is up, Spaceman? How are you doing, my friend? Great to see you. There's this exhibition of Kirk Hammett stuff, and I actually have links to that in the description for this video. I have the link to that and the Guillermo del Toro exhibition of horror stuff. But there was an exhibition of Kirk's rather large collection of movie posters. Some of them are incredibly rare. And I loved, in particular, if I can find it, this one movie poster for its hand-painted type. It's just a beautiful... Actually, this one's got some decent hand-painted type as well. But do you guys see what I mean? Let me see if I can get that to focus. That kind of crazy, hand-painted, playful aspect to the type. So that's what... Yeah, the Tomorrowland vibe. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That look, right? The modernist sort of look. Hey, what's up, Cranberry Landers? How are you doing, my friend? Hey, Shanth, and hey, everybody. Happy Memorial Day weekend to you guys, by the way. But I always loved the look of that type of hand-painted lettering. Let's see. Now, that one's not the one I'm looking for. It's a mummy poster, and it's fantastic. It's not Dracula. It's not Creature from the Black Lagoon. Those are all good. Nope, that's not it either. It is hands down, my favorite movie poster of all time. Just beautiful. Maybe I wasn't that far off from it. There's a Frazetta piece. I saw 2 Frazetta originals and a Basil Gogos piece as well. There it is. This poster right here. Look at the mummy type. The way that it's all cracked and weathered and hand painted. See if I can adjust that a little bit. Hang on a second here. Let me adjust the gamma on this back a little bit. There you go. Do you guys see what I mean? That's the look that I want to do. Yep, Boris Karloff. Yep, the Boris Karloff version. Hey, Micro, what's up? How are you doing? It's great to see you. Let me see. Make sure I get everybody here. Yep, happy Memorial Day weekend, says Cranberry Landers. Indeed, indeed. Yes, with gratitude and gratitude and gratitude for the liberties we enjoy, guys. Knew it. You know exactly what I was talking about. Yep. This is the stuff for me. This is the coolest stuff in the world. I love this kind of stuff. Yeah. That's the one you were envisioning, Timmy. See? We got it, man. Doesn't that look great? And so, yeah, that's the stuff that we can do in Comicsgate. That's the stuff we can do in the indie scene. We can make this stuff happen, whether it's, the creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles using graphics duo shade to get that really cool gradient effect in their work. It's the little things that we do that we're free to do, but other people would say, where are you going to put this stuff? Like, you got to have the letterer be connected to a certain extent to the artist, and how are you going to make all that stuff happen? Where you can do it somewhat digitally, but then you get original artwork and that type isn't on it. And I want to have original artwork where every now and again I do some kind of lettering on it to where if it's something cool and if it ties into the art, then it's on the original. So yeah, that's a big aspect to it. Let me see here. We got Spaceman with a question here once it comes up in Ecamm. Let me see what we got here. Hang on a second. There it is. Shanth, the Gogos book you showed last night was amazing. Yes. Basil Gogos is one of those artists who he went so crazy with his colors. And I don't know if any of you guys in the chat are familiar with his stuff, but Basil Gogos did just the Famous Monsters covers. If anybody bought the Famous Monsters of Filmland magazines, and or is at least aware of them, he did those incredibly iconic colors for covers, and did incredibly iconic colors, funny enough, on those. And they were just incredible, so much so that they often will release model kits and statues and things like that where it's the classic monsters, but then they will paint it and do a painting color version of it that looks like one of his paintings but in 3D. So yeah, his stuff is incredibly powerful. And for those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, here's a look. This is what Basil Gogos' stuff looked like. Just insane colors. Absolutely insane colors. And so for almost every... Let me see if I can find a wide shot of his Famous Monsters stuff. He did the stamps of the Universal Monsters. There's a smaller version of it that'll fit on screen a little bit better. But this is what his stuff looked like. And it's everywhere. Everywhere, man. Yeah, they're haunting images. They're colorful images. And they're also, as their job for that magazine is get in here and buy it. Come over here and buy it. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Isn't that great stuff? And when I think about the potential for anything I do in this particular genre I love, which is the monster and horror genre that so many of us are passionate about here, that's stuff I think about, things like the hand lettering of the posters. And I think that what my hope is that to the extent that we can, and the amount of creators we have working in this space, that we can meet all of your aesthetic needs here. I really do believe the old adage that is often only partially quoted, the customer is always right in matters of taste, which is if there's something that you guys are excited about, and you say, I want to see a movie with this kind of quality, and I'm willing to spend the money, and there's enough of us who want to spend the money to see it happen, then who am I to say, that, or to anyone else, that you shouldn't make that thing? It's crazy, and obviously I never would, but I don't know how to describe it, like no one needed to tell me, well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, why would you like that? It's like, no, I like it. Please make it available for me, and look at what it has created. The phenomenon. It's the same thing with Star Wars. I do understand it's May 25th, and so yes, indeed, for all of us old school Star Wars fans. And I don't know what else to say about it. Hand lettering. Maybe this is the dumbest thing in the world. Although there's a lot of competition for that title sometimes. But I'd like to think I might be in the mix. But maybe it's this crazy, silly idea. But I don't know. I thought that I thought 100% doing a painted comic book. Is anybody even going to want to buy this? Yeah, Paulus, right? So here's what I was talking about with Graham. And shout out to Graham. Guys, if you have not backed Joe Frankenstein, the campaign is live as of yesterday. I think it's either at or almost to 30K. Let me check on it real quick. The link is in the description. I can't share it on screen because an eCam gets a little bit dicey when I try to do that. So let me just see if I can show or look at the campaign and see what I've got here. Is it at 30K yet? It's got to be close. Okay. So guys, Joe Frankenstein, The Eye of Ra, the link is in the description. Just look for Joe Frankenstein 3, is at $29,620. There are so many different tiers that you can back at whatever level you are able to do. And if you have the interest, please go and back Joe Frankenstein by the incredible Graham Nolan. And the story and the concept and how everything was built and created, it's the product of so many incredible creators and artists. And that's the stuff you love. You've got Chuck Dixon, you've got Graham Nolan, who are writing this story. And Graham, I think, did the first 2 issues. But then you've got the interior artwork, incredible artwork, dare I say, as it says on the Indiegogo, by Anthony Gonzalez Clark. And when I was on Graham's stream, we were able to see a lot of the interior pages by Anthony on that book. And I was blown away by the stuff, guys. Races across the rooftops of Egypt, mysterious people lurking in the shadows, immaculate reality in terms of the background rendering and the background detail. This is the stuff that pulp and comics and fun are made of. This is the kind of stuff where you curl up in the couch, pour yourself, put on some scary music, pour yourself a tumbler full of soda, if you're me, and sit back and enjoy it. And if anybody is curious whatsoever about what I think the ideal music is for this, there was another formative childhood experience, which was my neighbors, or our neighbors across the street. I guess you call them neighbors still. But the folks across the street had a vinyl record of the Disney Haunted Mansion sound effects. And I used to sit back, listen to that record when I was over at their house, and it was just haunted house music. That's how big of a monster kid I was. And I would just listen to this stuff, and I thought it was the coolest thing, just imagining scary stories to draw to. So I like to think when you're listening to, or sorry, I should say when you're reading Nosfero, when you get your copy, or if you want to wait to get a reader copy for on the next campaign, that you'll sit back, listen to some scary music, and deep dive into Nosfero the Crypt Walker. I hope you'll do the same with Joe Frankenstein. I know I'm looking forward to doing that with my copies of Joe Frankenstein. And speaking of Basil Gogos, for those of you guys who don't know, Graham's cover for that was very inspired by Basil Gogos. So yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah, oh man, that's the stuff, right? That's the stuff. Sit back, put on some scary music when comics were fun, 100%. It looks like great old-timey pulp comics. Yeah, I was talking to Graham about, asked him what his era, God, I cannot speak today, what his era was, his favorite era of monster movies. Say that 6 times fast. And he said what I suspected, which was the 1950s. And there's a lot of great stuff that happens in those decades, right? From 1931 and before that with Nosferatu in the 20s. But you get the Harryhausen movies in there as well. You get all this great stuff. And so that kind of goes through all of his work. Marcus, how are you doing, my friend? It's great to see you. I hope you're doing well, man. Yeah. Pour a bubbling, frothy green drink into a skull mug and relax. Amen, Cranberry Landers. Yeah, I like to think about that stuff. You know, the Halloween season, for those of you guys who don't know, as the holidays invade each other's seasons, I know that at Universal, Hollywood, and Orlando, they're already prepping for Hollywood Horror Nights, which begin in September and go all the way through Halloween, of course. So it's very much in the air. And if you're like me, you know that as a summer monster fan, if you have a love of Jaws, it is a great summer movie. And if you have a love of the creature from the Black Lagoon, it is a great summer movie with an incredible creature design by Millicent Patrick. Now, I absolutely love Creature from the Black Lagoon. It is a is it superlative? Am I using that correctly? It is a incredible... No, superlative, that is not correct. That's wrong. That's a term for a type of word. It's not a superior... What is the word I'm looking for? It is a superior movie, but it is a exemplar, I think, of the horror genre. Damn, that was difficult. Maybe I don't know. Me and words. Yeah, doing okay, looking at... Simon and Kirby crime comics from the 50s. So you're not doing okay, you're doing great. If you're looking at Joe Simon and Jack Kirby comics from that era, man, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yes, exemplary. Thank you. Yes. That's what I was looking for. Gosh, thank God for the chat. It's like you guys are the other part of my brain when I'm doing this stuff. But yeah, I mean, man. Yeah, I love comics. I love monsters. I love Julie Adams, obviously. But Millicent Patrick's Creature is... you don't get a better rubber suit creature design until you get to Alien. Like that, and I know that that's not a lot of decades if you really break it down, but that is how long I think that was an unchallenged title for best rubber creature suit. You know what I mean? Yeah, the other part of my brain, I hope. I hope that's what it is. Oh my God. So let me see here. Oh my God. Did I say pancreas? Oh man. It's one of those days. There we go. I'm just going to bring that down just a little bit. So here's another aspect of when you hand letter and you paint your own stuff, is that one of the cool things is that you can do things like I was sitting here going, well, is the type gonna fit there? And then I went, you can put the type behind the architecture. You're painting it. Yes, you guys are the other half of my pancreas. That is true. It looks amazing. I'm also a fan of The Mummy and the Birds. Okay, here's another one. So when I went to Universal Studios in Orlando much later, I got to ride the... God bless, my ability to speak today is gone. I got to ride the E.T. ride, and for the first time, which was great because I'm a massive fan of E.T. and Spielberg. But I also got to see this 3D movie they had in there on Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Now, I love Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. There are some fantastic scenes in it, some beautiful glass painting shots for special effects. But the sequence when Tippi Hedren is outside of the school trying to get the children out of there at the end of the day, make sure everybody gets home safe. And behind her, you see these, whatever you call, I forget what you call them. They're not monkey bars, are they? But they're this little metal, thing that kids could climb on. And there's a crow flies in and lands on it, and then you keep seeing more crows land, and then it just pans over, zooms out, and it's just filled with these crows, and you just go, oh my God, it's so great. What's up, Rudolph? How are you doing, my friend? Oh, you're always right on time. Always right on time. So my section of the pancreas doesn't work, so I've got, yes. Oh, you've given me, that's all right. It's okay. I will gladly take those diabetes if that's what comes with your support and you being here. The creature is one of the best monsters ever. Yeah, it is. It's a champion design. Hail Paulus Arts. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I immediately felt that. Yeah, the scene in the phone booth is so unnerving. Yes. I think that movie, I mean, the scene with the gas station and trying to warn the guy, you know, when the fuel pump is leaking and he's going to light a cigarette and they're like, don't drop that match. Oh, God. Woo, what a movie. Yeah, I got to do some Hitchcock watching with the family this summer. That absolutely has to happen. Because I don't think we've watched a lot of Hitchcock films. You know, and frankly, I feel like that's my responsibility as a parent. So yeah, let's see what we can do here. But this is the joy of hand-lettered type. I mean, this is what we can do. We can play around with this stuff. I think that was one of the things I remember most about the Image, you know, era, and one of the things that I think the great Eric Weathers is really bringing to the game with his lettering work that he does, and also with his amazing book, Battle Brick Road 2, which he has created with Zeb Hatfield. Guys, if you haven't seen that, the link is in the description. I am doing a painting for the print book. If you have not backed the print book, do back the print book. There's a vinyl record that's going to have a song on each side. It's going to be a 7-inch vinyl, and with original music for the comic that you can put on. I mean, come on. How can anybody not be excited about the madness? It is a ton of work. I know you guys know that. You tune into these streams. It's a lot, but that's what it takes for us to build something. We have one of the most engaged fan bases in the world. They make action figures possible. They make miniatures possible. They create amazing videos. They create amazing, fan art, all sorts of amazing stuff like that. And then you've got creators coming from, in many cases, careers working as freelance illustrators, artists, comic book artists from all around, and to come here to be in this sort of fertile ground for the imagination that is Comicsgate. And yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I know that they're launching why can I never get the name right? Fearsome. I think on Sunday, Ethan is launching Fearsome. Graham launched Joe Frankenstein. And yeah, Anthony Gonzalez Clark is crushing it on that artwork. Really cool stuff, guys. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. Very cool stuff. Yeah, we're all a little mad around here. Absolutely right. Battle Brick Road is one of my top five favorite. Oh, I need to get hooked on phonics, people. Let's try that one more time. Battle Brick Road is one of my top 5 favorite CG books so far, absolutely. And Eric Weathers is one of my top 5 favorite CG creators. He's such a good dude, and he's Eric and I have been almost every week we get together for just an art, hangout where we do artwork and we talk about various, approaches to, to drawing and painting and composition, and it's amazing. It's a real gift to have other artists that you can talk with about the craft and talk about what you do. We obviously do that on stream, but I think it's also important to do, where you just, you don't have an audience. I think you have to sometimes, obviously, I know all of you know what I'm talking about. It's when you fire up a stream, it's time away from your family, and it's important to do. It's time with the folks who are backing the books and are excited, but it's sometimes you got to be able to recharge. And this may seem very odd, but right now what I'm doing isn't work. It's me recharging my batteries and also making sure I'm spending time with you guys this weekend, because I'm going to be volunteering at the school to help with something for my daughter. And that's going to be a big day of painting and using my skill set to just kind of contribute to my local community, which I think is kind of important. I mean, those things just like everything, right? I mean, those are the things that make you, make you feel connected to where you live and the folks that are around you. I mean, it's funny, my brother Rocky, who some of you guys may be subscribed to his YouTube channel. What's up, Bordeaux? How are you doing, my friend? It is great to see you. Lasagna Time says, awesome one. Oh, yeah, introvert problems. Amen. So, yeah, my brother, Rocky, who is got a YouTube channel, Rocky Inc., ROQUE. If anybody has the link, put it in the chat. But he talks about comics and art and all of that stuff, and I forced him into YouTubing. It's my fault. But he was just texting me the other day, and he goes, yeah, and I had to do a backdrop for my daughter's play. I was like going, yeah, right? That's what you got to do. You're a dad. It's part of the job, right? Yep, I understand that. Great job volunteering, Sean. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You and Rocky are helping out at the kids' schools. Yeah, we both do that. We have not, much like with everything, we have not changed in our essential character since college. Rocky was the guy I met freshman year who was a lot like when I met that kid at Universal Studios. It's like, oh my gosh, you love comics? I guess we're going to have to be friends for the next 30 years. That's how it goes. Mike Likes Taco said, saw Garfield. It's not great. Just a movie, but it has some good fatherhood elements, so that's worth it if you have little kids. That, you know what? Those recommendations are always good to put out there. Hitting the road later, guys. My friend, enjoy Fury Road and have a wonderful time at the movies, my friend. And have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. And there, I believe, is Cranberry Landers dropping the link to Rocky's channel. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, Rocky Inc. There it is. That is the channel. So yeah, do check it out. Going to a friend's later for dinner, wine, and cigar is going to be a good night. Excellent, man. I'm sure it's going to be a great one. Socializing in public? Heh. I know you're a vampire, or is it a werewolf, Timmy Mello? We got to get our story straight, man. I think it's the werewolf thing. Yeah, Mike Likes Tacos. Take care, brother. Great having you here. So yeah, 93 people watching. Thank you guys so much. If there is any way to express your support, whether it's just clicking some kind of like, I don't know how X works, do it. Let's see what happens. Let's see where this adventure takes us. I think it's reasonably safe to assume that anything you do is more likely to help it than to hurt it. So by all means, guys, by all means, do that if you have the wherewithal, and especially if you have the hands free. Like if you're holding a baby, watching this stream, first of all, plug the baby's ears. But if you are watching this stream and you're in the middle saying, for heaven's sake, focus on that. But if you have the means, please do. Please do. So what do I want to do with this? Because I want to switch the type up a little bit here. What should we do? We have to think on that. What should I do? Do I want to change it up? I don't want to make it thinner because I want to have it be in line. You know what? Before I do that, I'm going to finish the U in this type because yeah, that'll help me to think. Buy myself some more time. is always the case. It's always the case. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll be working on a painting and I'll be trying to figure out something really complicated about it, and I'll just say, look, you got to just reset. Go work on a panel where you know it's going on another page, and it'll happen. It'll come to you. And that can be a big thing about artist block with stories or anything else. Sometimes you run into those walls, and it really is the skills and the ability to step back. I was watching the unification of the heavyweight titles belts, what is it, 2 weeks ago almost? Maybe 3. And, you see the championship rounds, and you see where people's skill and muscle memory comes into play. Like when you get hurt, knowing to hold and not sort of, moving backwards and hanging your chin out in the air, all that kind of stuff. Well, it's the same thing with creativity. It's the same thing with streaming. You got to make sure that you're streaming and putting yourself out there all the time, but not so much that you burn out, because then you're no good to anybody. And you got to make sure that you've got, you're not just running yourself into the ground. And I think most of us and a lot of the folks in the chat, everybody works really hard, and you it's hard to sometimes step back and sort of say, okay, I need to collect myself and get myself recentered. But it's knowing how to do that. Sometimes, guys, and this just came to me, you probably have never heard anybody say anything like this, but it's, if there's one thing I like to bring on my streams, it's originality. You got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away, but you also have to know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. So, I mean, just remember that, guys. It's, oh, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yes. Yeah, I used to be so terrified of even using crayons as a kid or markers. I just want to draw everything in black and white. Oh, yeah, come on now. Kenny is the man, right? I love me some Kenny Rogers music, but I also love me some Kenny Rogers roasters. Do you know what I'm saying? A little bit of chicken goes a long way. Yeah, you want to learn the Game Boy. You got to learn to play it right. You know what I mean? The Gambler. That's right, man. Who doesn't love that song, right, Brent? That's the stuff, right? So we had an 8-track player when I was growing up in... Michael always says when I tell stories from my past, I sound like Verbal Kent in Usual Suspects. So he's always waiting for me to say, back when I was in the Barbershop Quartet in Skokie, Illinois. But this is all true. Back when I was living in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan, around the block from a slightly older kid by the name of Dan Lawless, neither one of us knowing we would meet here in Comicsgate years later, we had this robot toy, I don't know what it was called, that would play 8-tracks. And it was like a robot toy that you get special tapes with it, and then it would light up its eyes and do special things. But it could also play regular, 8-track, tapes. And we had a Kenny Rogers, and we used to play that on it all the time. Yeah, keep your hands away from the devil's hand in a white frilly. You know, you were there for that Pizza Live. Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen those Pizza Live episodes, they're absolutely rewatchable content, so don't feel bad if you missed it live. But you can get to watch a movie with myself, and we watched a movie, and all of them seem to have diaphanous nightgowns as their central theme for some reason. Not just because that's a major factor in my painting, but yeah, wild stuff, guys. Wild stuff. There we go. Now we're having fun. I see it's Bob Ross is always going to be in my head. I don't know. That's what Bob does to us all. Trying to think what I want to do with that. All right, let's grab a pencil here and see what we can do. See if we can figure something out. And if not, that's fine. Yeah, I've got, sometimes when I'm signing books and things like that, I'll use the trading cards from Nosfero to put under my hand because I have, an extra stack here of ones that got dinged or fell down. So I do use those from time to time as hand rests. Because I wear a white glove, linen glove, when I'm holding back the books for doing head sketches on the interior. And I use a card to rest under my hand so I can move when I'm drawing. So... yeah, one of those things. There we go. Everybody's saying hello, hello. I hate that song, actually. I can't get it out of my head, though. Memorize the lyrics. Well, listen, it's an earworm, if ever there was one. Had an 8-tracks in my room, and both my parents' cars back in the day loved it. Absolutely. Yeah. Is it because diaphanous dresses were ubiquitous in those days, Shanth? That, yeah, for sure. But I think another aspect of it was... that before we hit the 60s, femininity was ubiquitous. People were not ashamed to be feminine and appreciate it. It's such a strange thing. And I already, guys, if you step outside, and you'll see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you step outside, and I'm not saying you go outside. If you're an introvert, just lock down like it's a zombie movie. But when you go outside and you walk around, I saw a noticeable change when I've been walking around lately, that the trends of the last couple of decades, which I'm not a huge fan of, have really started to tank. The younger generation is completely rebelling. It is almost like the switch from the late 70s to the 80s is starting to happen now. I'm seeing a lot more of people kind of embracing, I wouldn't even say traditional looks because that sounds like whatever, but people are trying to look good again. Actually trying to make an effort to look more attractive and to be young instead of acting like they're in their, my age, for heaven's sake. Yep. So the coward of the country is another good Kenny song. Yep. Absolutely. Great voice. Yeah. Already ahead of you. Yep. In the 20s and 30s for sure. Yep. Yeah. Don't go outside. Shanth 2024. Absolutely right. Question of the day. What the animals depicted in the Witches in the Woods ceremony, speaking of monsters. Wait, question of the day. What the animals depicted in a Witches in the Woods ceremony, speaking of monsters? Gosh, I'm trying to think of what you mean by that. Are you talking about in the movie The Witch, or are you talking about something else? Sadly, I look like a bum, says Awesome One. Because, there's, what is it? The hare is one of those. So, trying to think of what the other ones are, but let me know what you mean, because I'm a little lost, Michael. But that's typical, right? If you've been here for a while, you know. Cranberry Landra said, I'm seeing it. They got to see how the socially progressive lifestyle worked out as time passes. Well, yeah, as time passes, you're right. And I think the other aspect of it is that I know that was a common expression. People would say, oh, youth is wasted on the young. You know, you can even see that in It's a Wonderful Life. But no, youth is for the young. Being young, looking your best, and seizing, you know, the sort of the power you have of being young and becoming an adult with other young adults is part of the fun of life. And it was almost like a generation just surrendered that, and you never get that back. You know, you never get to have that time back. And I think it's almost vampiric, if I want to go that far with it, to encourage young people to sit around and hate each other over politics. That's like, what a waste of your youth. Don't do it, you know? Yeah, since lockdowns, I have not cut my hair for 4 years. There you go. So do you look like Gandalf the Grey? Is that what's happening? We talking about how the younger generation dresses nowadays? If that be the case, then boy, do I have some frightening high school stories. Yeah. Well, I would say it's more the generation that I'm seeing that is probably in... I don't know how old people are when I'm walking around. Like, I'm almost 50 now. Everybody, when I meet somebody who's in their 60s, I'm like, oh, we're the same age. You know? And so everybody looks like a child below my age demo. But I would say that I'm in New England, and we're usually where the coasts are usually where a lot of these ideas start out, and I'm seeing a huge change happening in what I'm seeing up here. I mean, night and day difference. So we'll see, you know. Let's see. Yeah, right. They would rather be taken care of than go out and build a life for themselves. Well, yeah, you know, not that old. Yeah. Let's see here. I've seen some. Yes. Yeah, I've seen some terrible clothes, young and old. Yeah, I'm thinking we're the same age. Yeah, we probably are the same age. Kayla, how are you doing? It's great to see you. Good afternoon, everyone. Long time no see. Yeah, Kayla, I'm wrapping up my not wrapping up. I keep saying that, but I'm getting close. I got these 300 packages or cardboard filler things for magazine-sized books the other day, which I was waiting on. But you and Ethan and a few other people's books are going to be the last ones that I send out when I get everything done. So I've got you on a list because I want you to have a copy to review for your channel. So I hope you're going well. When are you launching your channel? I'm excited. Listening to as I bag and board at the shop, so you know what I'm talking about, Kayla. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I love magazine-sized books as well. Yeah, Rocketeer was, of course, was one of my absolute favorites. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Shadow 1941, which my brother Nick did colors on. Love all of that stuff. Let's see what we can come up here with hand lettering. But yeah, actually, Kayla, you would probably know this. I was just showing the exhibition catalog for the museum that's, I think, on the same street as the comic book shop. So the It's Alive Kirk Hammett's collection of movie posters that was at the PEM a couple of years ago. I don't know if you got a chance to check out that show, but that was an amazing show. There were two Frazettas, some Basil Gogo's paintings at the Peabody Essex. Yeah, there it is. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was great stuff. My tomato plant is thriving. Man, you sound like you are a good cook. Awesome one. Gen Z seem to be getting it, waking up and embracing the freedom. Yeah, they're calling it Gen Alpha now as well. So that's the new generation after. I can recall one time in middle school a fight broke out in this hallway that was between the gym. Oh, in the hallway between the gym and the... I thought you said the... That was funny. In the cafeteria, and I guess one of the girls came from the locker room by her... Oh, my God. Oh, that's nightmare fuel. No fruit yet. Well, I'm sure it's on its way. Yeah, we found... Oh, yeah, it was an awesome exhibit. Aaron Lepresti's Kit Carter will be magazine-sized. I know, I was excited when I saw that. I was streaming with Aaron the other day on Graham's channel, and even though we have a strong disagreement over Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and the Wolfman, we do agree on the monster cereal. So that we have. Yeah, Gen Z is very 50-50, and I think Gen A is going to be the antithesis of what the most extreme Gen Y / tail end of millennials, or sorry, Gen Z and Gen Y. So tail end of Gen Y and start of Gen Z were. And I think it's just because, people are realizing that they have been swindled. Well, maybe not even that. Let me stop. I don't like that whole thing, that way I was going with that, because that is such a victimizer, neo-Marxist kind of thing. Let me try that sentence again from the start with something a little bit more intelligent. Oh gosh, is there even anything more intelligent? I think that they are realizing that when you're living in really good times, there's a certain appeal to negative entertainment about scarcity, entertainment about disaster movies and all of that stuff, much like there was in the 70s. But once you actually start dealing with the real issues of aging and physical health and all of those kinds of things and isolation, you realize, you get a little bit of context and you say, okay, I'm tired of being miserable. I'm tired of turning on the news. I'm tired of watching stuff that makes me feel depressed. I want to get out and seize life and do something, you know? Yeah, and you know what's so funny about that, right? Is that, let's see, 1995. So I'm trying to think of who I've got my life is about the same age. Definitely a millennial age, but here's the trick. I don't want to say people are outliers or outside of that kind of thing, but there are always folks, again, I'm talking for real hardcore comic book fans and hardcore fantasy fans, we've always been outliers. You know, I mean, the people who are, you have to see it. The fake geek girls, we know they exist. The people who are fans of being fans, not the people who, Kayla, let me check my memory here. I don't know if my memory's good. Was it Arthur Adams who you met and broke down when you met Arthur Adams? Because I'd have done the same thing. But people who meet Dave Stevens, in my case, and feel like Moses has come down with the 10 Commandments, or parted the Red Sea, we're a different breed because we live in those books. We live in those stories. You know what I mean? To me, there was this very particular turning point where people just started hating the creators of the stuff they loved. That's what I would call this culture. People who grew up on J.K. Rowling and wanted to cancel her when they were older in their 30s. That's a very different thing. I still love the creators who inspired me. Still a big George Lucas fan, Spielberg fan. I appreciate them so much. Awesome One says, Cheerios as a baby, Raisin Bran as a kid. Yep. Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs as an adult. Now I wouldn't touch cereal with a 10-foot bowl. Yeah, it starts to wear on us. My younger sister is 21 and is now getting into the working world, has changed her. Yes, getting into the working world has changed her. All of these things, being around young people, working with people. Not me, I love Jake. See, that's what I mean. That's an outlier. That's an outlier. I mean, I never got that whole thing. Like everybody around me, when I was, coming up in the 90s was a very different time. I also grew up in the 80s. But I was always a pretty optimistic and positive. Yeah, that's going to work for the type there. And just make that a little bit narrower, and I might just I want to do a different color on some of these. I think it's going to be the rat, and then the of is what I'm going to do with that. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I just couldn't exist in that. As much as there was some great music that came out of the grunge era, there aren't a lot of musicians from that time left. I was a massive, and still am a massive, Alice in Chains fan. That's my favorite band from the grunge era. But that's some heartbreaking. There was some heartbreaking stuff, and folks that came out of that era of music, and I just don't want to live in that space because it's just, it's just heartbreaking to see people who kind of have so much talent, so much ability, and then just keep losing them. So I think we kind of find our way to a middle ground at some point. And I think that's what we're kind of searching for right now. And we're starting to find, which is that middle ground. There we go. Yeah, that's starting to work a little better. Cool. And then I know what I'm going to do in that space as well. So let me see what we got. Hey, what's up, Antoine Dennison? Gosh, my glasses just fell off. Professor. Shanth, I think it's easier for us to remain enamored with the creators we grew up with, appreciating, because most of them aren't on social media calling us Nazis. That sounds like something a Nazi would say. Yeah, well, I mean, listen, this is the craziest thing, right? I know a lot of people who are fans of certain creators or authors, let's say, who, they've always transported them with their work, and they've started to inject increasingly just more out there politics into their work. And it breaks the fantasy. It breaks the escapism. I mean, how do I put it? I have to be kind of conscious to what's going on some level, just because there's certain things that people do to where you almost feel an allergic reaction to that. Even actors are getting tired of playing the same cliche, flawless character when they're, a lot of women are talking about that right now. I think Amy Adams was talking about that, that she just, if she sees one more script like that, she's going to lose it. She's looking for flaws now because that's not fun for an actor. People are burning out. People are just burning out on that stuff. And when it comes to story, we want to be transported. Dune Part 2 almost completely transported me. If it wasn't for the way that they wrote the character, I'm not going to try to pronounce her name right now. I think it starts with a C or whatever, but that Zendaya played, I would have been totally transported. I mean, Christopher Walken, it was tough to not see Christopher Walken, but she was the opposite of the way that character is portrayed in the book. She was kind of petulant and didn't seem to understand the stakes that she was talking about, which is the eradication of her people. And it was kind of like, well, fine, if you're going to be that way. And she stomps off at the end, and I was like, who is this character? Yeah. Let me see here. New Discourses discusses a book in 1984 that is used in public schools as a handbook. It describes being on the side of the oppressed, even if they are evil. It's a very religious book. Interesting. Yeah. I'm very much a product of the 2000s and 2010s, but God also made me a history junkie along the way, so I also appreciate things from the Middle Ages and forward. Well, you want to talk about something Gen Z's being increasingly obsessed with is antiquity and history. Because, you had Gen Y and Gen Z went to school at Hogwarts, which is what the weirdest thing in the world is. Because that's a school about strict rules, how you do things. Everything is very in a row. And then I think it must have been kind of depressing to be in a lot of educational environments where teachers were the antithesis of that. I don't think that's what people need from their teachers. And with administrators willing to fire teachers who are strict and give actual realistic grades. It's an odd thing. But yeah. Oh, wow. Easter in the woke cult. There you go. Yeah, people are starting to talk about it. Kayla says, better adjust my glasses here. I'm able to separate creators from their creations unless I'm personally disrespected, but I can still respect and admire good works of art, whatever it is, music, art, books, etc. Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. It's, I just want escapism, and I've met some amazing folks. I've met some people, who weren't that, that great, at cons, but then I always say, people are people, and, people have tough days and weird days. And, but I don't know. Like, I think that, yeah, there's a different level. I've never gotten so upset at a creator. Like, let's take John Lasseter, for example. I know a lot of former students of mine who, not all, but there were former students of mine who were gleefully on Twitter thinking that this person's entire life should be destroyed on what was very weird evidence. Now, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but I'm not aware of, any particular crime that came out. It was just a corporate power play to push him out, as far as I could tell. But what was strange to me is that people who really used to talk breathlessly about admiring John Lasseter, they went to hating him overnight. They were like, this guy has to be destroyed and never work again. Like, I had a student contact me who was a massive Pixar fan, and when John Lasseter got hired at Skydance, they were saying, I don't ever want to see him work again. And I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. My Indian brother. Oh my gosh. Pranvat Gulati, my God. Gifted 20 Shanth Enjeti art memberships. Holy cow. You maniac. And it is great to see you. I got to play some cheerleaders for you, my brother. Holy cow. You guys, I never know what to expect when I start a stream. I really don't. Thank you, sir. My God, here you go. Charge! I'm going to have the longest member credits for this month in history. You maniacs. Yeah, all of these folks. Thank you, my good friend. How are you doing? It's great to see you. You good friend, you lunatic. Wonderful. My God. Thank you so much and much appreciation. Yeah, let me see who all's got memberships here. Mike Likes Tacos has memberships. My gosh, look at you guys all getting memberships. Holy cow. Willie D has got a membership. Mighty Geek Studios was gifted a membership. Beach Betty was gifted a membership. Robert H. was gifted a membership. Carlos was gifted a membership. Wow, this is awesome one. Gifted a membership. Kayla, cancel culture is absolutely disgusting. Agreed. Yes, and thank you for gifting yourself at the very least, Pranvat, a membership to this channel. God bless you and thank you so much. Gable was gifted a membership. Jonas was gifted a membership. Mike Wilson Art was gifted a membership. Aldous on the Farm just off Orwell Lane was gifted a membership. Tattoo in Wonderland was gifted a membership. Headless Bourgeoisie was gifted a membership. Cranberry Landers, well, that's nice indeed. Let's see here. Whoops, it just jumped here. Yeah, and Wikipedia and Google search is hard to trust anymore, 100%. Brent is saying thank you to Pranvat Gulati. Thank you so much. And let's see here. Marcus Kellegrew is saying thank you as well. Mark's Music Obsession says wowzer. And Spaceman is saying they wanted Lassiter out because he kept telling them their ideas stunk. Come up with something better. And he challenged them. He had to go. That's exactly what it is. I got to play some more cheerleaders for that generous gift of memberships. Thank you, sir. Amazing. You guys are maniacs. That is all there is to it. Yeah, they wanted him out, and people wanted him to be a Blu-ray special features. Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. That was incredibly thoughtful and incredibly helpful. I shall buy brushes with that money. But the thing about it for me is that, yeah, people don't realize that when somebody is at a particular level like Lassiter in their field and they've studied this for decade after decade after decade, that there's not a lot of those guys. But also that someone being honest with you when they are a higher level of competency in a very specific field is one of the best gifts, that when they don't critique your work and when they don't tell you, hey, you need to fix this or fix that, they've actually given up on you. And as a teacher, if you're not being, looking at your students and pointing out things they can do wrong, they're either wasting their money, or so that they're doing wrong and that they could do better. They're either wasting their money or you've given up on them. And that's just not the way to do it, I need a whole cheerleading squad for events like that. I'm not even kidding. 40% Zed Hale, how are you doing? It's great to see you, my friend. Yeah, I can't use Google to do research anymore either. I think we're going to come back to, yeah, we're allies. Social Justice Warrior voice. No, you got me. Dang it. Well played, sir. Well played. I'm not going to recover from that. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Tolerance is not a virtue. It was a lie told to you by the people that just needed time to get a foothold, and then they plot your death the entire time. Well, this is the thing, right? John Lasseter wasn't even allowed to go back to his office. Like, he had been convicted of a crime. That's what you would have thought. He wasn't, obviously. To get his stuff. He built that studio. He built that office. They've been in a spiral ever since he left. I can't imagine the feeling of betrayal that he felt, because, yeah, I heard stories about Pixar, but not about that, how hard it was, and I visited Pixar as well, but just how tough it was. It was like what you would expect, like Disney was back in the day. You had to know what you were doing, you had to work hard, a lot was expected of you. And was John Lasseter very huggy? Yeah. I watched a clip of him meeting Hayao Miyazaki visiting the studio. And he was like jumping up and down, hugging, and Hayao Miyazaki's like, okay. I don't know what to do about that. You know, if I could find someone with all of his particular skills who wasn't as huggy, maybe. But I think they just escalated things from 0 to we're getting you out of here. Like, you can't imagine like what was going on. But they threw that guy under the bus. But this gentleman was contacting me. It was very much like what happened with John Malin and those guys, where and Shane recently and all that stuff, where when he went to go work at Skydance Studios, this student was texting me and they were saying, yeah, we're all talking about whether we should disavow Skydance in the industry because, and I'm like going, so you just want him to never work again in his life? Is that it? Like, you just want him, after everything he's done and on very shaky accusations that were never led to, you know, any kind of criminal thing or anyone doing anything, you just turned on him that fast? And it was crazy. You know, I feel very grateful that even though everyone who worked with him, Disney again, also turned on him, that Johnny Depp, who had spent, you know, he had his struggles, but he had spent so much time being nice to waiters, you know, going and visiting kids in hospitals, that people were like, I'm not having this. Like, this isn't right. And everybody was jumping on the bandwagon. He was always this terrible person. I'm sure so many people he helped. Heartbreaking, you know. Shanth Enjeti art, don't feel too bad for Lasseter. Yeah, he made his own bed. Pixar could have, yes, remained independent. Yeah, that was definitely a Steve Jobs thing too as well. And just used Disney for distribution, but he took the coin and laid down the... Yes, he did. No, that's 100% right. Yeah, if they had remained independent, it could have been a different thing. But then you got to think about it. Bob Iger must have some skill, because he got George Lucas to sell Star Wars. And he also got him knifed in the back too, so yeah. Yeah, Better Bachelor did a video on confident bosses and employees and said some medical college accepted people who couldn't pass the confidence test in basic dealings with others. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff come out now. And I guess the thing I would say is that anybody who's told stories of editorial or schooling, and for any of you guys who live in New England, for heaven's sake, and have ever driven on 95, you know, I know Jeremy Jeremy Ice and Fire knows what I'm talking about. But and so Kayla probably, you know, there's a different attitude. I don't know if there's certain expectations that people will have in that working environment, that the more intense it is, whether it's, you know, building or flying an airplane, for heaven's sake, the expectations are going to be extreme, because there are extreme consequences. If Pixar movies don't do well at the box office, everybody gets laid off. So if Toy Story and Cars movies pay for a lot of the other movies, because it's so expensive to make those films, and that's a lot of pressure that not everybody can handle or deliver on. And I think that when you can find those handful of people who can, they're very important. They're very important. So yeah, it was always kind of strange to me. The J.K. Rowling one was especially strange, but then I kind of expected it by the time it happened. But and the Johnny Depp one was really strange too, because I don't know if any of you guys, 95 is a fight for your life, 100%. Yeah, IP owners see the dollar signs and sell all. Yeah, it happens. You know, I don't know. I can't imagine selling and then not getting out, though, because when you sell, they don't care anymore once you sign that dotted line, right? Let me see. I read that one. Johnny Depp is the only acceptable. Yeah, Jack Sparrow, and that is really the extent of my knowledge of him, as well as a handful of other characters. Yeah, he made that company billions. Yeah, if you really want to learn to drive, just hit 95. Absolutely. Yep, true. Yeah, I think that's why we're creating our own IPs, because no matter what you create, if you don't own it, or what you build. I was going through folders looking for Frankenstein reference photos and things like that for the stream I did with Graham, and I saw all of this work I did, painting classrooms and buying books and all these things, and learned all too well that if people want to take your space in your office and all of that kind of thing, and who don't do any of the work to build that stuff up, they absolutely will. That's one of those things. And I think that was around the time I started saying to myself, anything I build here, anything I build that I don't own, is something that people who had no role in building it can take and claim as their own. And that was a wake-up call in a lot of ways. And yeah, you take on the risk. There are perks to working for people and working in those environments, but you've got to know enough about who does what, and who are your load-bearing walls in any given situation, so that you don't get rid of your most valuable people. And that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with. Yep, says Cranberry Landers. I've lived off 95 as at Nass Dahlgren, best time of my life. You're cracking me up, man. Yep. At Awesome One, I'm in my 30s. I thought first I read that as one, I'm in my 30s. So at Awesome One, I'm in my 30s. There you go. Security and insecurity. Yeah, I mean, and it's a complicated dance, right? You have to pick the things that you want to do. I think that for folks who do comic books, who are writer artists, it's a ton of work, and it's grueling, and it's financially not whatever, it's not, there's no security there in that particular sense, but there's positives to it. And I get why people don't want to go out into the independent space and be a part of this kind of thing, because it is really difficult and it does have its risks, without a doubt. And then there are also the things that if you are working in an environment where people don't believe you have the right to have an opinion other than the one that's handed down to you, that's a different sacrifice that you have to make, and you have to do what you can live with. And it's why I wouldn't tell anybody, and you hear a lot of folks say this, I wouldn't tell anybody to leave a situation to come into a space that is, risky, and where, that's something that you got to know that's what you need to do it. And if it's fantastic, that's great. If either way, sometimes you're going to find yourself confused. But for me, this was the place I needed to be in, and you guys remind me of that all the time. I think it's important for people to create new IPs and focus on that instead of focusing on things that are out of their control. Yeah, and these things will be public domain soon enough too. There you go. Naz, there we go. Pixar has fallen so far. There's talk of folding it. Yeah, it's going to fold into Disney Animation. The wokesters have destroyed their own industry as a love of comics and movies. It just makes me sad. Yeah, someone who loves comics and movies. Yeah, Naval Air Station. Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, it's a strange thing because, even when Peter Laird sold Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of the things about that was interesting is he maintained the right to publish 12 issues a year of a black and white comic book. So, everybody could sign different deals. They could have done whatever. But some of these deals that, I know the deal that George Lucas signed, it was like a full and absolute with the exception of very few things. They're like, if we're going to pay you that much, you have no control over anything we do. And I can't imagine, I think it was because he was probably exhausted with all of the constant scrutiny and criticism, but who's to say, in a lot of ways, I think a lot of people appreciate him more now. But when I think about creating stuff that I don't own or working on stuff I don't own, it's got to be something that's going to be worth that time, that I'm going to be excited about. Because, and I mean passionate about, because you want to make stuff that you have a connection with. Yeah, less freedom, more financial security, what little there is. Yes, indeed. Yep, that's the trade-off. And it makes sense. Alda spoke of this, it just jumped on me. Alda spoke of this last night about sci-fi shows, the future for a society, and much was about the future, yes. But now it's looking to the past. They don't see a future. Yes, I agree. Oh my gosh, my glasses just dropped. Shanth, the title of that book reminds me of the Rat King character from TMNT 2012 animated series. He's a mutated human with the ability to control rats with telepathy. Oh, I remember that character. Yeah, from the comics, man. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, with this, the fun thing about this is it's playing with all of these little Lovecraft tropes, but yeah, this is 100% inspired by those original black and white, even though it's not black and white, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics. I mean, I don't know if you can see it in the background, but yeah, this was the first kind of comic book I ever had, and I love it, man. These guys, these guys are gonna be, it's gonna be a little bit. Well, actually, I don't know if I want to say that, because I think there was some pretty cool, heavy stuff in some of those early Ninja Turtles comics, and probably still, for that matter. But it's definitely going to be a lot more pulpy and strange because of the Lovecraft element. So, yeah, these things are going to be, I think, one of the first. I don't want to actually tell you what I'm thinking about for the script yet. But, yeah. See, you guys got me want to talk stories. Well played. Well played, Nordic Nerd. You almost got me talking story. Yeah. 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my childhood. Yes, and will probably be my biased favorite iteration, despite its many flaws. Well, everything, right? There's flaws in everything. If you love it and it entertained you and you had a connection with it, by God, enjoy it. Yep, inspiring individuals. Yes, indeed. And happy Sunday, says Cranberry Langers. Yes, to those of us in the future. What was the first draft like? Okay, wait, I've got to catch up. Art, much like war, suits the strong leader with a strong vision, the charismatic individual people choose to follow rather than be ordered to. Yep. Agreed. As far as George Lucas goes, I liked the first draft of the prequels more, though. Okay, fair enough. Like, you mean from back in the 70s, 80s? Let's see here. Let's see. 2012, TMNT was lit. There you go. Own it, Comrade Sammy. You like it? Awesome. I mean, shoot, I grew up loving, Todd McFarlane and Image comic stuff, and John Malin is a Rob Liefeld fan. So if you want to talk about people, coming down hard on creators, and we're just like, we love this stuff, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969 saying hello to Comrade Sammy. So yeah, I mean, for my attitude is, it's, I love The Rocketeer. I think it's a perfect comic book. I'm sure some people might read it and go, so what's this character about? Like, is he really a hero? Is he this? For me, it's a perfect comic book. The comics and art and movies are that way. I talk to a lot of older fans, and they say that the E.T., which you can't argue with, the E.T. costume design is horrendous in terms of its sculpting or whatever, but as a kid who loves E.T. and loved that movie, I can't see it. It's just a perfect film about the confusions of childhood, and then having a little magic come into your life, and I'll always love that movie for that. So yeah, there's those things that we love, Goonies, for heaven's sake, love that movie. I'm sure that I know a lot of people who are older and can't even imagine why I love that movie so much, but I just do. We got between X and YouTube, we got 101 people watching. Thank you guys. Show your support any way you can. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to make sure you hit that like button, because that matters to whatever our overlords see. Although I get the sense on X that they're actually watching it, and we're not having to do as much work because they are interested in seeing what gets eyeballs. Awesome one. I'm sure he'll show. There you go. I meant the prequels, so the 90s, early 2000s Star Wars series. Yep. We don't have those filmed. Yep. Oh, I get you. I get what you're saying. Yep. Jeremy Birds, channel member. Hail to you, brother. It is great to see you, man. How have you been? We've been in streams together, in the chat and stuff like that. And I think you were you in the chat when Graham was doing the part 2 of the Joe Frankenstein? The link for that is in the description, as well as the Lucent 2 Painted Death. Also the sign up for the second chance for Nosfero the Crypt Walker. That's going to be the first thing you come to. But if you haven't backed Joe Frankenstein, it launched yesterday. Battle Brick Road 2, the Lucent 2 Painted Death, Terror in the Trenches sign up is in the description, and CYBERFROG 3 is in the description, and I hope I got everything, but it should be in there. So if you're looking to buy some comics, there you go, folks. Yeah, letting my homemade lasagna cool. Trying to make everybody hungry. Awesome one. Waiting for those tomatoes to come in, man. And then it's going to be fresh. I've attempted to summon John. Haven't heard from him. No, that's right. John's out partying. Is John your uncle? Emo, there you go. Yeah. Hey, Cranberry Langers. Absolutely. What's up, Cranberry? Everybody is... it's great to see all of you guys on this Memorial Day weekend. So, yes, indeed. We're having some fun here. But, yeah, I mean, one of the things I did, in my portfolio for college, for applying to art school, was there was a movie coming out at the time I was excited about. or that had just come out. I think, I'm not sure. Let me think. No, I think it had just come out or was being advertised. We had to do a movie poster sketch, and I did one for Jurassic Park, and I had the Brachiosaurus in different perspectives going back into the dark distance, and we had to draw these things on tracing paper. So what I did was I hand lettered out the type and I colored in around it so I could have white type on it, and the teacher was like, "You're nuts." So early on, my craziness was well visible. All right, Kayla's heading out. Take care. Gotta go. Gotta catch you next time. Take care, everybody. Absolutely, Kayla. Have a wonderful day. Wonderful day. And say hello to Salem for me. Let's see here. One, awesome one. You make your own sauce. Peace, Kayla. Did some laundry. Oh, it just jumped. And a video and ate some Taco Bell, Comrade Sammy. That works. I have pork chops in the oven. I love me some pork chops, man. 40% Zed. Respect. Yep. See you, Kayla. Everybody's saying. Haven't made sauce before. Never had my own tomatoes. I guess so. That's going to be the next challenge when those tomatoes come in. Excellent. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm excited by the stuff that's going on right now. I kind of think that that there's got to be the audience. How do I word this? Because it's not like the audience just appears magically. People have to get hungry for new things, exciting things, positive things, aspirational things, for things to start to change and for everything to move. And I think we're at that point. I think we hit that tipping point and people are excited, you know? My nephew just pulled meat from the grill, says Mark's Music Obsession. Right on. Yeah, everybody's eating well on this fine Memorial Day weekend, which, oh man, that's awesome. So glad to hear it, guys. Memorial Day weekend, folks. There we go. Yeah, there is nothing. I've used acrylics, I've painted with oils, but there is nothing like the way that if you get the viscosity right on the paint, that you can do fine lines and really get precision with gouache. There's something great about it. Yep, CG inspires fan art, it inspires videos, and it's so funny because I spent so long, you hear people say things over and over again about this or that or whatever else, that sometimes I just go, wait a second, I've got stacks and stacks and stacks of books, of comic books that are fan-funded, crowd-funded comic books, and that is awesome. Yeah, bring back 25. There you go. I'm going to a barbecue tomorrow. Oh, that sounds great. Yep, that's a great cover. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, Kenneth Rocafort crushed it on this cover, man. That's great. Yeah, he does fantastic work. But I've got Inglorious Rex, Godlike, CYBERFROG. I think I've got Terror in the Trenches Volume 1. I've got Black and White right over here. I've got both issues of Black and White. And Terror in the Trenches is somewhere over here. But I've got a lot of comics I'm balancing right now. And, of course, Nosfero the Crypt Walker. So some of you guys... Oh, bring back 25-cent comics. Yes, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, I was looking at hamburger prices back in the day at a drive-in that was in an old movie. And I thought, that must have been really nice. Purchasing power. Oh, my God. Yeah, it's too funny. Yeah, who knows? I don't know what the future of comics is per se, but I think that comics do have an amazing future. It's just where the imagination goes, and again, is it financially possible for creators to make their work? And I think that crowdfunding has made it possible for people to do it. Is it, it's just how possible it makes it is the real question for it. And that's something that is about to be honest, that's something that is about the promotion of the work, and it's about the way that meeting people here and all that kind of stuff. But that's not something that you have a lot of control over. All you can really do is just do the best work you can. And I'm amazed all the time by the incredible folks I've met and the people who have backed this book as I put these all these packages together. I was doing that all morning today, and some of you guys went nuts backing. And just as we saw with Pranvat Gulati and Jim Cox today, 30 memberships given out on this channel and this stream. I think that's a pretty incredible thing. And I know it's Comicsgate that makes it possible. I know that, you know, when I say that and I hashtag that, even though no one else hashtags it, obviously, because it's just something I've come to, it's give nihilism no quarter, guys. Just crowd it out of your life and just focus on, you know, putting positive stuff around you, positive people around you, creativity. Make sure you're laughing. Make sure you're going outside, and make sure you're enjoying yourself, and tell people have a great day when you see them. That's why I love telling you guys to have a great day. Yeah, guys, we are, perfect economy in an alternate reality. Yeah, Terror in the Trenches is great. Yeah, shout out to Vaughn on that. And yeah, absolutely indeed. I have steak marinating for Sunday, and then some hamburgers and hot dogs for Memorial Day. Yes, indeed. Thank you to all of those who gave the last full measure. We celebrate you this Memorial Day weekend. We appreciate you this Memorial Day weekend. Thank you for the gift of liberty and making sure that it has endured as a result of your time on this planet. God bless you all. And thank you guys in the chat. Guys, I am losing... Shanth, are you in the 500s? Yes, I am in the 500s. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, God, that's so many. I still can't believe I've done that many, but we're getting there. And thank you guys so much. I'm losing my voice, so I think it's time, and we're at 2 hours to wrap up this stream. So thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you so much to Pranvat Gulati and to Jim Cox for their gift of memberships to so many of you guys. And thank you to my current members, all of you guys who have been members for the long haul. I appreciate seeing you guys here. Some of you guys from the very beginning, you know, Cranberry Langers, Timmy Mello, Mark's Music Obsession, of course. All of you guys have been fantastic. Tahiki, it's great to see you. Remember reading somewhere that Lovecraft himself said that Cthulhu should be said as, yes, a two-syllable word, like it's like Cthulhu, like spit out like that. You're absolutely right. Sounds real alien-like. Has anyone else tried it? Yes, I have, and I ruin artwork because I spit. But yes, ciao and God bless all. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you guys, and thank you for those custom emojis for my long-time and new channel members as a result of this stream. I will see all of you guys soon. Check out Graham Nolan's Joe Frankenstein. Do make sure you sign up for the Second Chance campaign for Nosfero the Crypt Walker, as well as check out Battle Brick Road 2, My Brother from Another Mother, Eric Weathers, and my other brother from another mother, who is, of course, Michael Bancroft with the Lucent 2 Painted Death. There's also Terror in the Trenches is ready for sign-up, and CYBERFROG 3, and I think that's everything I can think of right now. My brain is pudding. Emo Trash says he did not reply, so I must have missed something. I tried, Sammy. Oh, to John. I got it. I just put it together. Shelby almost on maybe. I think that's what that was. I'm not sure. But yes, indeed, guys. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. As I always like to say, from the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, this is Shanth Enjeti. You have been watching Shanth Enjeti Art. Speak easy. Stay gold. Keep the faith. And peace be with you, because peaceful one is what Shanth means. So thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend, and God bless you all. Take quick care. Thank you, longtime channel member Antoine Dennison. God bless you. And I will see all of you guys soon. Look for your names in the credits, and I will be updating those by the next stream. So take care, everybody, and here you go.